Hey there, creators. Welcome back to the Dear Creator YouTube channel. My name is Danny Daniela, and this channel is focused on us practicing critical thinking, creative thinking, and applying it to our self-awareness journey, not only through looking at people's content online, but also looking at it within our own walks in life. I'm not a political person. I do not want to come online and go to a left or go to a right. I come online to figure out how we can think critically, how we can get creative, how we can actually be better people to ourselves and to the world. And that kind of centers around humanitarian or just caring for people and their bodies and their souls and their lives just a little bit. And when I have come across left and right content, it seems very okay, for lack of better words, it's and it just feels very messy. A lot of content feels very messy, but we have to look at this today. We need to examine a framework that's going to help us in this political landscape, this political season, because let's just watch the videos together and then I'll discuss why I think this framework might be important. So the video we're watching is about a prank. It's a prank for some Donald Trump fans in South Carolina. And I want you to really just remove yourself from the left or right or anywhere. Just remove yourself and just experience this and tell me your takeaways. Tell me your honest takeaways. Do not include your biases. Tell me your honest takeaways because we need to really look at this. I don't know if this prank or this is a skit. I will say that I'm not I just hopped out of my bed and put a shirt on and came downstairs. So I don't know if this is actually real or if it's a skit. But I can only assume, based on the content that is out here in America, that this might not be a skit. And it really is just a prank revealing some things, not only about these people in the videos, God bless their souls, but also about all of us. And it can go beyond just politics.
Who you voted for in the last election? Trump. I'm going to guess you voted for Trump.
It says Donald Trump.
Do you mind if I just ask you a few questions about things that Biden has done in his administration and you can kind of give me your opinion on that? What did you think when Joe Biden suggested that COVID could be cured by shining a bright light inside the body?
It is very sad that Joe Biden is clearly a dementia patient.
Supposedly hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light.
What do you think about Joe Biden saying that getting through the 80s without getting HIV was his own personal Vietnam?
Again, it's very sad, his mental capacity, and that is a very uneducated statement.
Okay, I'm so sorry. These are not, I got my notes mixed up. Can I ask you this question? Can we start over and me ask you? Okay. What did you think when Donald Trump suggested that COVID could be cured by shining a bright light into the body?
It depends what that technology is.
Okay.
That's a broad spectrum because, you have MRI machines and CT machines and infrared and different things. So it just depends the context of that.
What did you think of Donald Trump saying that getting through the 80s without getting HIV was his own personal Vietnam? Dementia patient?
No, I don't believe that.
There are accusations that Joe Biden cheated on his wife with a porn star after his son was born. And there's actually a paper trail showing he paid the sex worker $130,000 to keep quiet about it.
Well, who did that? Joe Biden? And he was making, I think, less than $100,000 a year at that time as a congressman. A senator. And how does he do that?
You tell me. Would you vote for someone that?
Of course not.
Okay. So Trump did do that.
Trump had a fling with Stormy Daniels.
And paid her $130,000.
Hush money, yes.
And you're voting for him.
I am. My father had affairs too, and I still respect him.
How do you feel about Joe Biden using his bone spurs to dodge the Vietnam draft?
Joe Biden has a problem. He isn't an American. He isn't a patriot.
I'm sorry. I asked you, I said Biden and I meant Trump. So those were things that.
Oh, Trump?
Trump, yes. Can I ask you the question again with
Yes,
the right name? I'm so sorry. How do you feel about Donald Trump using his bone spurs to dodge the Vietnam draft?
My brother-in-law had flat feet. I'm sure you cannot go into a military zone, a Vietnam zone, or any of the other zones with bad feet.
Sure.
You just can't do the job.
I agree.
And it actually impacts the other soldiers, puts them in danger.
Yeah.
So no.
I really want you guys to let me know in the comments what is your takeaways without any biases. I'm not sure who you stand for as it relates to your leader, but be honest. In practice, this is a practice. This is actually a challenge for you to be honest about this, even if you are a Donald Trump supporter. And I would encourage those who are supporters of any other leaders to really imagine this as it relates to your own leader. Let's say that we tried this prank with another person and how do I say it? I don't know how to say it. Let's say that we had this prank for Biden, and instead of it being about Trump supporters, it was about Biden supporters. Or let's say it's about Jesus Christ supporters versus non-Jesus Christ supporters. And all the other different arguments that we can make, men versus women, all of the arguments that we have out there, just put yourself in a place to see if you are really practicing this belief system that my way is the only way and there's nothing wrong with the way that I see the world. I cannot make room for any other wrong as it relates to whoever I want to follow or whatever truth that I think is true. Literally practice understanding why you believe and what you believe. Why am I so passionate right now? Whoa. I need to go to sleep soon. I'm just too passionate. I think because when I watch this video, and I want to be clear, this is not a video to Trump on Trump, right? This is a video to really expose how we're not practicing our critical thinking skills and that we get so held on to a certain belief system so much that we forget why we even believe in something. We just hear a name, we follow that name, or we know a brand and we follow that brand, but we never really understand what that brand is about or what that company is about or what that leader is about. Once we get a little bit of juice from them, we're like, ooh, juice to me some more. But really, every principle, every thought, every idea should be taken individually. And is it for the good or is it to our detriment? So what I wanted to propose to you all today is, just as you go out here and you start to be in the political landscapes, you put yourself in communities, you decide to be an advocate for humankind, that you have principle-centered decision making. So I'm going to go through 4 different steps to have principle-centered decision making. The first one is understanding your core values. When we understand our core values, what principles are non-negotiables for me as it relates to freedom and justice and equality? What's a non-negotiable? And really I want you to write it out and write it down. I think that we get online and we get into these communication groups and we have people that's on our side and we start to talk to one another on our side to say, yeah, you agree with me? Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, we all agree with each other. Or, hey, you don't agree with me? I can't even sit and listen to you because you don't make any sense because you don't agree with me. I think we need to remove that just a little bit. Let's just practice it. We don't have to do it for a long time, but I challenge you to just practice, just listening for what actually helps us all. Okay, so when you decide what your non-negotiables are, you list your top 3 values and consider how they align with whichever candidate or policy you're evaluating. The next step is analyzing beyond the personality of a candidate. Am I focusing too much on the person rather than the policy? And I think we see this in the video. The person, Donald Trump, is definitely an advocate. They're a fan, and sometimes we're going to have fans. This can go all the way to music. Like, are you a Beyonce or Usher or Taylor Swift fan and you cannot see any wrong in these people? Really look at the actual principle and separate it from this idea of a celebrity. Because if we really analyze this world, a lot of our celebrities and a lot of people in higher positions aren't really practicing things that, I'll just leave it with a ... Now, the third thing I want you to do is seek information from multiple sources. So this is especially for those who are really going to put themselves into the political landscape. And I hear a lot of commentary with a lot of data, a lot of rhetoric out there, but really, what does it mean to seek information from multiple sources? Have I looked at diverse sources to understand all the sides of the issue? Before making a decision, consult several reputable sources to get a well-rounded view. The well-rounded view is important because if you bring it to the discussion and you bring it to the table, you should be able to communicate your thoughts in a way that's not so aggressive that people can't hear what you're trying to say. When I listen to certain commentary and it's very aggressive and it's very against another side, it's almost as if they're only talking to their own audience. But it appears that we want to actually make some traction. If you feel you want to make a statement, so let's say you want to make a statement, and the statement is about, I want all of my children to learn Black history all throughout the month. I want them to learn it all throughout the year. I do not want it to be separated. It seems like it's harmless, but you might have a group of people that say, no way, why would we want Black History Month all throughout the year when we could just have White History Month all throughout the year? That's crazy. Like, you might have another side to that. So if you really want to approach it, you will have to bring some very credible understanding on why that might be useful, but you cannot beat up the other side to a point where they can't hear what you're saying. But that doesn't mean that you can't come with your credible sources and really have your truth. It just means that, hey, I want them to listen. What's the best way for them to listen? I've only been on earth for so many years, so maybe this won't work, but I'm just thinking that maybe we practice, maybe we just see, maybe we just use all of that advancement in technology that we've done all these years and like just navigate it to like human decency. I don't know. Now, after we seek information from multiple sources, we're going to consider the greater good. How does this policy or candidate affect the most vulnerable in the society? And then we prioritize policy that promote welfare and rights for all, especially the marginalized. I don't know if that's a bad thing to do. And you let me know in the comments. I'm really interested. If you don't think that it's a good point to promote the welfare and rights for all, especially the marginalized, tell me with credible sources why it's not a good idea. And when I say credible sources, practice actually making your argument without being mean. I have no other words. I have a limited vocabulary for it. I have no words. I just have no words. Let's just try. Don't try to be mean. Try to be very mindful with your argument. Now, the fifth thing I want us to do is reflect on the flexibility versus rigidness. Am I being too rigid in my political beliefs? Is there room for compromise for the greater good? So this requires you to be open to changing your stance if new evidence or arguments present themselves. Then there's voting as a civic duty. How does my vote contribute to the type of society I want to live in? Vote with the intention of contributing to a positive future for your community and country. So your community, this is just the local voting. We can start here where it really matters. And I really want to stress that sometimes we have these political conversations and we have the lesser of two evils that you're choosing from. And I'm really not sure how we navigate that. Perhaps it is becoming leaders in our communities, being the good that we want to see in our communities, and besides just staying behind the whatever we're standing behind. It really requires us to be a part of our everyday politics and our community engagements, go to those local town meetings, understand what's going on, and then be a part of it. Because if we leave it to people who don't really care, then that's what the outcome is going to be. And then after we have our post-election engagement, how can I stay involved and hold elected officials accountable after the election? We have to hold each other accountable. What happens is we vote one day, we start to just have the same rhetoric throughout the season, but we're not doing anything that actually contributes. And so really challenge yourself, those who are political, those who are angry, those who are mad, those who believe one way is right or the other. Challenge yourself to really get into community so that you understand exactly what you're saying. What we see in this video here is, and I'm sorry that these two individuals were put on the spot. I'm not even sure if they know what happened or if they were just a part of the skit. I have no idea. But to be so contradicting and so one-sided that you took the exact same thought, and when you put it with one person, you could not have that same response for the other person, really reaches to a lot of different areas in our lives. It can also be you have a best friend and your best friend can do no wrong, and all the things that your best friend does that are wrong, if you see another person, you're quick to judge them. But because you have this closer relationship with them, or you're a fan of your best friend, you can cover their wrongs. But we really should be looking at the principle itself. If good is good and bad is bad, it should go across the board. And if there's something good happening over the right, the left should say that is good. And the same thing with so-called other things. I was gonna say so-called bad, but like I don't know if I want to say so-called bad. I think bad is bad and we understand what bad is. But things that just don't help grow our society, help humanity, those should be in the center of the table. We should not just hate everything that someone says on one side or the other just because it has left on it or just because it has right on it. I don't know if that's a crazy. Am I insane for thinking that we should be a little bit more humanitarian? I just feel like I'm walking out in the world and I'm walking around Earth and I'm thinking I might be a little insane because people think that this behavior is okay. But that's all I'm gonna say with you all today. I just wanted to provide a framework. This video was very inspirational to me. Thank you for the creators for sharing it. Thank you for those who are in the video who really exposed themselves, because even though they expose themselves and this video might come off a little bit judgmental, it definitely does teach me about my communication skills and my understanding of when I could be biased because I am an advocate for a certain group or an advocate for a certain person, but I'm not looking at the principle. So I hope that this also inspires you all to be an advocate for the principle instead of the person. Principles over people. No respect of persons. Until next time, hold on to you as much as you can. Hold on to your health, your well-being, and your mind. Be mindful. Bye.